Yeah, what's interesting is that we never expected to show up at HIMSS and have to face one of the worst cyber attacks we have ever had in American healthcare system. It happened even during Vive, and you and I were both at Vive, and it was a hush buzz, almost like, what just happened? I mean, hacking into a hospital is chump change compared to taking our prescription system down and then also our claim system down. So, a lot of lessons learned when we have that much data and that much content going through a workflow that happens all the time and has to happen fast. So what were providers told? You need to fax your prescription or you need to call it in. We went back to just the basics. We saw a lot of our volume increase. Digital cloud faxing, like I said, is our flagship product. It's eFax. So at least with an eFax solution, you can get a high trust certified, HIPAA way, you're not going to like a paper fax machine, have a fax actually sent to a pharmacy. You can even do it with a claim form. HIPAA 1500 is a form. I am assuming that a lot of the providers in the ambulatory world went back to filling that form out by hand. We can read handwriting with our extraction technology, and we can actually send it to a health plan in almost the same manner they would have extracted that structured data out of the EHR, fill it out by hand. You can run it through our fax platform, and then we're still sending it over to the payer so you can get paid. But it was paralyzing the industry because this is the way we've done it all the time. So I think we just need to recognize that unfortunate things like that may happen and that we don't have to be that crippled. We're not saying that this is the downtime solution. This is the lowest communication type of a solution that still exists today.
Yeah, and certainly an unfortunate event, but I think what it's forcing digital health vendors to do is really evolve that value proposition. Traditionally, we've gone out and we've talked about features and functions. And then in some cases, we've evolved to a point to say, you know what, now I actually need to talk about a solution. We talk to a lot of providers, we run quarterly studies, and they'll always tell me, I need more HCP bandwidth. I need my providers to be more engaged. I need to make them more productive and efficient. And that might be the solution you would talk about as opposed to features and functions. Now I think with this data breach, what you're also going to see is that evolved of its features and functions. It's how do I solve the problem you have in front of you right now, but also how do I solve the problem that you potentially haven't even thought about yet, data vulnerabilities, things of that nature. And so again, I think it's really going to force the commercial model, marketing, sales, and service to really deliver that holistic message of how their products can help providers and payers.
Well, the Change Healthcare event was a big issue, created a ripple effect through the industry. So everybody really needs to take notice. From the provider side, they have to start thinking about decentralization so they don't put all their eggs in one basket, number one. Number two, have better security protocols and take it seriously. And three, also do a regular assessment on their own internal environments to try to mitigate those type of attacks. And also make sure you qualify the vendors, because the vendors are also bringing in a lot of these type of attacks or as an entry point for these type of attacks. From the vendor side, a couple things. One, as a vendor to healthcare providers, we have to make sure that our own house is in order. We have to make sure that we have good insurance also, because if something were to happen, that could directly impact our business. But we also have to exhibit some tough love with our healthcare customers to get them to take certain precautions.
Yeah, extremely unfortunate. First and foremost, vendors really need to do their due diligence, on security, require third-party attestations of compliance. That's number one. Number two, you always have to have a plan B. We live in a world where we're so reliant on computing and technology and all things of that sort and communication. You don't have a plan B, you're going to end up with a lot of other providers who are actually getting federal bailout right now in the wake of said outage and breach.